Letting number 8626, reconstruction, thank you. Reconstruction of taxiway 5 connector, Lambert St. Louis International Airport. We have 2 bids. Millstone Weber LLC, MILLSTONE Weber LLC, $3,712,671. 3712,671.00. Gershenson Construction Company, Inc. GERSHENSON Construction Company, Inc. $4,179,220. 4,179,220.00. Letting number 8627, concrete and brick removal, replacement, and complete sidewalk installation. We have 3 bids. Rainier Construction LLC, RAINERI Construction LLC, $797,277.50. 797,277.50. SBC Contracting, Inc. SBC Contracting, Inc. $796,347.50. 796,347.50. Gershenson Construction Company, Inc. GERSHENSON Construction Company, Inc. $834,450. 834,450.00. With the low bidder, please meet with Ms. Bean in the hallway. Thank you.
Are you on? Are you on?
Yeah.
Okay. The board will hear 2 separate conditional use revocation hearings today. The Office of the Zoning Administrator has the burden to prove the conditional use permit conditions have not been complied with. After all evidence of the zoning administrator has been presented, the board will ask for additional testimony, if any, in support of the revocation. Then the conditional use holder will be given the opportunity to present evidence. Lastly, the board will hear other testimony in opposition to the revocation, if any. During the hearings today, your testimony is being recorded. If you come forward to testify, please state your name and address and be sworn in. As you testify, please direct your comments to the board and not to those in the audience. Members of the audience are asked to remain silent and not to coach the witnesses. During your testimony, members of this board may have questions for you. Following the hearings today, the board will proceed with its regular agenda. Following the conclusion of the regular agenda, the board will deliberate, discuss, and vote on both hearings. The board will notify the permit holders of its decisions by mail. Hearing number 8191. Hearing number 8191 is being conducted pursuant to Section 26.100.030 of the Revised Code of the City of St. Louis. The purpose of the hearing is to determine whether the conditional use permit issued to AAA Fish House to occupy 3360 Union as a carryout restaurant should be revoked. The conditional use permit is number as 108043. The conditions in question today, condition number 3 reads as follows. Condition number 3, only one approved sign from the zoning section of the City of St. Louis advertising the business shall be permitted. The Board of Public Service has in its possession the following documents which are being introduced into evidence. Item 1, a certified copy of the zoning code of the City of St. Louis. Item 2, the conditional use permit number 108043 issued to AAA Fish House to occupy 3360 Union as a carryout restaurant, subject to conditions. Item 3, a letter dated June 29, 2016, sent to AAA Fish House, CO Allison Carson, from the zoning inspector warning of the violation of condition number 3 that was found upon a site inspection and potential for a revocation hearing should the violation not be corrected within 30 days of the date of the letter. Item 4, a memorandum from the zoning inspector to the zoning administrator stating that upon her reinvestigation performed on August 2, 2016, the zoning inspector still found violation of condition number 3 of the permit. Item 5, a signed permit application for 3360 Union for the one non-illuminated wall sign. Item 6, public notices for today's hearing. Item 7, a certified letter dated November 1st, 2016, sent to AAA Fish House, CO Allison Carson, from the board secretary providing notice of today's hearing. And item number 8, email exchange dated July 6th, 7th, and 14th between the zoning administrator and the alderwoman regarding violations at 3360 Union with the pictures attached. The board asks at this time that the representative of the zoning administrator please come forward and be sworn in.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
State your name for the board, please.
My name is Myra Turner. I'm the zoning inspector for the City of St. Louis, 1200 Market, room 400.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, board.
Can you please tell the board about your investigations?
Okay. Well, my investigation started back in June, as it was stated, and the only violation that I found was that the building has 3 signs on it. According to what they were approved for, they were only approved for 1 sign. As of today, they still have the 3 signs on the building and a banner. And there has been no new permit issued for any more signage.
Okay. Are there any questions from the board?
Yes, the building has been permitted for 1 sign only at this time.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Okay. Thank you. If there's anyone else present who wishes to testify in support of the revocation, please come forward and be sworn in. Okay, seeing none, the board asks the conditional use permit holder to please come forward and be sworn in.
Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Would you state your name for the board, please?
My name is Allison Carson. I'm the owner of AAA Fish House, 3360 Union, St. Louis, Missouri, 63115. We've been in business for the last 13 years. I would like to give this to the board, where when I first received the letter stating that I had a ordinance against me, I went down to the zoning people, got a permit, gave them a sign, they architect my drawings. Once I received the second letter saying that I needed to come to court, I went back down to the zoning board. They pulled up the occupancy permit. I had no clue about this conditional occupancy permit. Never seen it, didn't know anything about it. How it came about is when I first opened my business, I went to the business center and they helped me, and they had a conditional release on the restaurant before me. So I never knew anything about this, but I tried to adhere to whatever they said. So once I got up to the zoning, again, when I got another letter, I went back to the zoning and I took pictures of each corner restaurant that was around me and showed them that, for north and south, east and west, there was no way that, this could be correct. So when the zoning board looked at it, this conditional release was gotten back in 2003. It's 2016. That's been that way for 13 years. And so what they told me to do was to come down here and see if we could revise it, or how do I go about getting a new occupancy permit. I don't mind taking down one of the signs if that's what I have to do. But when they gave me the letter, I called myself adhering to it. I went down there. I've come to her office. I've seen, I'm willing to do whatever it is I need to do, but I also would like to know, how do I go about getting a new occupancy permit that would adhere to me and my business, because I'm being punished for a previous restaurant that was there. And like I said, when I read the codes and the ordinance, it says once a conditional occupancy permit is put on your building, the next year they're supposed to call you back in and revise it and see if the conditions have changed or what can you do to get this off there. Also, it says that the persons that want to apply for a conditional release is the owner of the building, the prior tenant that's going in, or a potential buyer. Well, before all these things start to happen, I am a potential buyer of wanting to buy the corner, because the lady that's on the corner is real sick and she's giving me an opportunity to buy it. So I would like to know, what do I need to do to get a new occupancy permit to take these conditions off that I wasn't aware of? And I do have the pictures of the signs.
So just to be clear, how many signs do you currently have?
I have 3.
You have 3. And the conditional use says 1. And the conversation that you had with buildings, upstairs zoning, would be that we could revise the conditions to allow you to have 3, and the zoning would allow it as well?
Yes, they would.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
If there's anyone else present opposing the revocation that wishes to testify, please come forward and be sworn in. Okay. All right. Seeing none, I'd like to add the additional documents to be introduced into evidence. Item A would be the zoning administrator's report, and item B would be the photographs provided by the conditional use holder, and item C would be the information from the building division and building permit issued to the conditional use holder. Okay. The matter concerning hearing number 8191 is now closed and submitted. The board will move on to hearing number 8194. Hearing 8194 is being conducted pursuant to Section 26.100.030 of the Revised Code of the City of St. Louis. The purpose of the hearing is to determine whether the conditional use permit issued to Discount Grocery Store, Inc., CO Ali Khalid, to occupy 5009 Virginia as a grocery store with cooking and no liquor should be revoked. The conditional use permit is numbered as 119077. The conditions in question for the aforementioned premise are as follows. Condition 10, occupants shall remove and keep all signs off building, out of windows and doors that is visible outside of the building at 5009 Virginia, and any other sign other than the one sign with the business name on the exterior of the building pursuant to a sign permit. No pennants, moving messages, inflatable, movable, or painted on the building's surface exterior signs. Signage must be in accordance with the applicable ordinances, and no promotional signs for beverages, alcohol, liquor, tobacco products will be posted or displayed on the premise. Condition 11, windows and front doors shall remain clear with no bars, boards, or other coverings, except interior blinds or shades that may be closed when the store is closed. At all times when the store and deli is operating, the shades and or blinds shall be open so that there is clear visibility into the store from the exterior. Condition 14, the premise shall not be designated a nuisance property pursuant to Ordinance 68535 or its successor ordinances. The Board of Public Service has in its possession the following documents which are being introduced into evidence. Item 1, a certified copy of the zoning code of the City of St. Louis. Item 2, the conditional use permit number 119077 issued to Discount Grocery Store, Inc., CO Ali Khalid, to occupy 5009 Virginia as a grocery store with cooking, no liquor, subject to conditions. Item 3, a letter dated August 31st, 2016, sent to 5009 Virginia, Southside Market, CO Ahmed Azwai, from the zoning inspector, warning of the violation of conditions number 5, 10, 11, and 14 that were found upon a site inspection, and the potential for a revocation hearing should the violations not be corrected within 30 days of the date of the letter. Item 4, a copy of the memorandum dated September 30th, 2016, from the zoning inspector to the zoning administrator, stating that upon her reinspection of the premise, the zoning inspector still found violations of conditions numbers 10, 11, and 14 of the permit. Item 5, a copy of the public notice for today's hearing. Item 6, a certified letter sent to Ahmed Azwai, Southside Market, from the board secretary notifying of today's hearing. And item 7, a copy of an email from Sergeant John McLaughlin to the zoning administrator dating September 2nd, 2016, with a police report attached dated August 30th, 2016, regarding the sale of single cigarettes at 5009 Virginia. The board asks that the representative of the Office of the Zoning Administrator please come forward and be sworn in.
Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. My name is Myra Turner. I'm zoning inspector for the City of St. Louis, 1200 Market Street, room 400.
Can you please tell the board about your investigations?
This has been an ongoing project. But from today, I want to make sure I got the right, I don't have the right one here, but from today, first, we sent mail to Mr. Al Azwa, and upon going out into the premises today, Mr. Omar, let me find his name, Omar Shahida is now the owner of the business. I think when we came for our hearing before, he was working with Mr. Oswa, but now he has actually taken over the business. But with him taking over the business, let me say today I found things to be much better than the previous owner. If you look at the pictures from today, there's a gentleman out there putting new windows in so that you can see inside the building. There's a man working there doing that. It's still one window that has a covering, but those windows are coming out. I didn't find anything on the side of the building. And it seems like Mr. Shada is trying to comply with what we're saying as far as the way things are supposed to be within the premises.
Okay, so just to be clear, what violations did you find today?
Today, I still found one window that had a covering on it, and he still had some little LED signs in the window. One that said ATM, and another one, I think it's like an open sign and then business hours, but there's no permit for those. So those are the things that I found today.
Any questions from the board? Thank you very much. If there's anyone else present who wishes to testify in support of the revocation, please come forward and be sworn in. Seeing none, the board asks the conditional use permit holder to please come forward and be sworn in.
Raise your right hand, please. Tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Would you state your name for the board and your address, please?
My name is Omar Shahada, 5009 Virginia Avenue.
Okay, please proceed. Tell us about your business and what you're doing to comply, or whatever you'd like to tell us.
I just read this letter like 2 weeks ago, and I was out of the town for real. And I looked to all these issues, and I'm just a new ownership for this. I just transferred the ownership last week under my name. And I did a lot inside. I painted inside. I changed the tiles behind the counter. I spent over $3,000. We paint this morning all the front. It's been painted. I got pictures on my phone if you would like to see it. About the windows, I contact the landlord for that, and he don't really want to change the whole thing because I asked company and they ask for like $9,000 to do this, and this is too much money for real. I tried everything to clear it, but it's really old. I did my best for that, and I'm trying to make like kind of deal with him. Just if he pay like half, I pay the other half. I'm still working on it, but I'm trying to clear all these issues. But I need more time for that, and I'm doing my best.
So all the improvements to the business and the building are certainly appreciated. We obviously appreciate the fact that you're putting funding back into the neighborhood and so forth with your business. But I think the matter today is about the conditional use permit And what the zoning administrator's representative mentioned was there are a couple of things that you guys still are not in compliance with. Seems like one of the windows is covered, and it seems like you still have some LED lighting that is visible from the outside, and maybe a signage lighting or something like that. Is there any problem with removing those signs?
No, no problems. I came here, I asked them if I can get like permit for like the signs, and I don't know really how to do it, but they told me to go to somewhere, they write me here, to do permit and pay the money for the signs. I got just only 2 signs, the ATM machine, the open signs, that's it. The other window is covered. It was like assigned. It's very, very hard to move it. It's glued. Glue, you know the glue? And I tried to move it. It's no way to move it. So we paint some of it, half of it, to cover it. Right. But I'm trying to change the whole thing, but I really try to collect more money to do that.
I understand that, but I think...
I want my business to look good. I want the whole front to be changed.
I understand.
But I
But
can't
I
do
think
it in day and night.
what you have to understand is you have to be in compliance with the permit the best that you possibly can, and you have to make an effort to be in compliance with the permit. The testimony that I heard says that you're working towards compliance, which is a good thing in my opinion. But the other item that I really want to just ask about is, in the report, there is a report from a police officer that notes that the gentleman, Omar, is selling cigarettes not in a carton, but singly, and so that is also a violation of this permit. And so I would like to know from you what commitment the board has that you will stop that from occurring.
I don't know about that, believe me. I just, I don't want to sell singles. I don't want to do anything against the law. Nothing.
Okay, so you're not aware that that has happened, or?
I have no idea, believe me.
Okay, but you're the business owner, correct?
Yeah.
So we're telling you we have a police report that it's happened, and you as the owner and the conditional use holder need to be able to control your employees and what happens there
I will.
and stop that from happening.
I will. I will.
Okay. Any other questions from the board?
Not a question, but a comment. There is, the mayor signed a new ordinance last week that speaks to vaping and selling tobacco products to individuals 21 years and younger. So you should have received some information regarding that as well.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
If there's anyone else present opposing this revocation that wishes to testify, please come forward and be sworn in. Seeing none, I would like to add the additional documents into evidence. Item A would be the report from the zoning administrator. The matter concerning hearing number 8194 is now closed and submitted. The board will deliberate both matters following the remaining agenda items. Can you call the roll, please?
Director Scobie. Director Rundy is excused. Director Hayes is excused. Director Roth.
Here.
Director Moore. Here. Director Gray.
Here.
And President Bradley.
Here, we have a quorum. I'll call a meeting order.
From the President, contract and bond for letting number 8625 downtown traffic signal and roadway improvements, federal project number CMAC 9900676, St. Louis, Missouri. Forest Park security camera agreement between Forest Park Forever, Inc. and the City of St. Louis, Missouri. From the President, Director of Public Utilities and Streets, joint recommendation that permit for a Metropolitan St. Louis Sewer District for part of renovations of Soldiers Memorial Military Museum and Court of Honor project. MSD is requiring a new easement for existing combined sewer that runs east and west on the museum building at 1317 Chestnut, City Block 500, bounded by Pine, 13th 14th and Chestnut. Recommends approval, subject to certain conditions. From the President, Director of Public Utilities, Streets, Parks, Recreation and Forestry, and Health and Hospitals, St. Louis Cardinals, establishing a clean zone from Lenore K. Sullivan Boulevard on the east to 18th Street on the west, and from Washington on the north to Shoto on the south, December 31st, 2016 through January 3rd, 2017. From the Director of Public Utilities, recommendation that the Board declares as emergency action vacuum filter media from 2 filter units at the Howard Bend Water Treatment Plant. Recommends approval. From the Director of Public Utilities and Streets, joint recommendation that the following permits be approved subject to certain conditions as follows. Union Electric Company doing business as Ameren, Missouri to construct new conduit duct banks on Locust Street from Tucker Boulevard to 11th and 11th from Locust to mid-block south of intersection. American Fibercom to construct a building entrance lateral located from existing AFC manhole number 406A located on Walnut between South 10th and 11th to address 1010 Market. Trench 30 feet plus of 2 1.5 HDPE ducts in Walnut right-of-way. And American Fibercom to construct a cross-connect between AFC manhole number 226 and AT&T manhole number 4704 at the intersection of Walnut and Alley west of 900 Walnut. We'll trench 1 4-inch PVC duct with 3 1.25-inch HDPE ducts. Recommends approval subject to certain conditions. From the Director of Streets, an ordinance to vacate Rucker from Graham westwardly 805.70 plus minus 0.25 feet to a point. An ordinance to vacate the remaining 30-foot section of Modart from Hickory to the north line of the alley in City Block 2181 North. An ordinance to vacate the remaining 210.625 plus minus 0.015 foot wide alley in City Block 2181 South as bounded by Hickory, Grand, Rucker, and Spring. An ordinance to vacate the 15-foot wide east-west alley in City Block 441 as bounded by Pampin, vacated, Tucker, Shoto, and 13th. Recommendation that lease agreement between Kinder Morgan Terminals, Inc. and the City of St. Louis to assign agreement, including the assignment of our rights and delegation of our performance under agreement to Wetco Transloading LLC. Recommendation that permit for a matching tattoo LLC to encroach with 4 feet by 4 feet bike rack in front of 2734 Shoto, in front of 2734 Cherokee be approved subject to certain conditions. From the Director of Public Safety, we have the conditional use.
Good afternoon, Mr. President and members of the board. My name is Michael Vicentainer, zoning plan examiner for the City of St. Louis, and I'll be representing the building commissioner at today's meeting. Per board order number 766, transmitted herewith are recommendations for the following conditional use agenda applications. Approval is recommended for 2 applications at 5400 Louisiana and 3322 Olive. Approval with conditions is recommended for 10 applications at 3225 Arsenal, 3640 Childress, 2916 Ellendale, 1330 Aubert, 2709 Dr. Martin Luther King, 4657 Virginia, 3225 through 27 Locust, 3636 Ohio, 3636 Texas, and 4402 Natural Bridge.
Are there any questions from the board on the conditional uses? Seeing none, I'll take a motion, please.
Move to approve the conditional uses as recommended. Second.
Moved and seconded for approval. Can you call the roll, please?
Director Stobie. Aye. Director Grundy is excused. Director Hayes is excused. Director Roth.
Aye.
Director Moore.
Aye.
Director Gray.
Aye.
And President Bradley.
Aye. Conditional uses are approved. Hearing number 8191, which is AAA Fish House at 3360 Union, conditional use permit number 108043. Just would like to make the mention before I open the floor for discussion. The conditional use permit holder made a very compelling argument that the zoning code would allow the 3 existing signs to be in place. And so we have a condition on our conditional use permit that allows 1. It would be simple for us to revise that condition to allow her to have the 3 existing signs in place. So open the floor for discussion.
We could just make it as a motion here and now if we wanted to. Is that-
Absolutely.
Then I would like to move to allow 3 signs.
Second.
Moved and seconded to allow condition for 3 signs. Discussion?
Really quickly, I think it would be best to have in the motion too, to not revoke and amend the condition.
Okay. Would you like to remove your motion from the floor or revise it?
I will remove it and enter into approve the not to revoke and then add to allow 3 more signs.
Okay, so I have a motion, a second, to not revoke the conditional use and to amend the condition to allow 3 signs. Any further discussion? Seeing none, can you call the roll, please?
Director Scobie.
Aye.
Director Rundy is excused. Director Hayes is excused. Director Roth.
Aye.
Director Moore.
Aye.
Director Gray.
Aye.
And President Bradley.
Aye, approved. Hearing number 8194, which is issued to Discount Grocery Store Ali Khalid, 5009 Virginia, as a grocery store, conditional use permit number 119077. It was noted in testimony from the zoning inspector that we still have a couple of minor violations in place, but that the conditional use permit holder has made substantial improvement from what we've had in the past. It was also noted that we have a report on record from the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department that a condition concerning the sale of cigarettes have been violated. The smallest amount they are supposed to sell is a carton, a package, and they are selling them individually. The conditional use permit holder said that he is diligently working on the building and that he will do his best to rectify these conditions. Now, the one point that I do want to make is, if you noted when the zoning inspector, Ms. Turner, who's very thorough in her delivery of everything, held up the package of papers and said that this has been ongoing. What that refers to is we have had several run-ins with this business. And so we've had this discussion before, and we have also heard from the alderman, who unfortunately was not present today, that there have been issues with the business and being a nuisance property and so forth. So I would ask, in your discussions, you take those items into consideration. So open the floor for discussion.
Is there a way to just continue this hearing for 60 days? It would take it past the holidays and into the new year, and ask the inspector to go back out and reset it for another hearing down the road, and just continue it, and that way the owner is still on the hook and is given some time, and we can see whether this progress that has been described holds and whether additional progress is made.
Yes, I think that would be a reasonable approach. What I'd like to suggest for your consideration is that if we take that approach, that if we give them 60 days past the holiday, that the condition is either they meet all the conditions or they are revoked, so that we're not continuously stringing this along for more days to come, and it becomes 1 or 2 other things, and we continue to go back.
I generally would think that approach would be fine, but I guess one of the issues that might be tricky in this case, I think, because of one of the conditions is about not being a nuisance property, and that is a little more nuanced. Like, we might need like testimony if that's the case, like he is having issues complying with that. Again, we would need testimony, like hopefully from like the police officer that did the investigation, or like someone from Problem Properties. So if we say like it's automatically revoked, like the nuisance property condition is a little hard. It's like not black and white, so that's kind of hard.
Good point. So what your suggestion would be, Counselor, is that we possibly give them the 60 days and then revisit the issue one last time, and that if it has to do with the conditional uses, we get one final report from the zoning inspector. If it had to do with the nuisance property, that we would ask the police officer to come in and provide the board with testimony?
Yeah, the police officer or whoever would be the appropriate person in Problem Properties, yeah.
Good. All right. Any other comments or questions? Okay. Yes, ma'am. Grab the mic there real quick, will you?
Thank you. My return zoning inspector for the city of St. Louis. What's happening now is when I receive notification of a nuisance property, I now have a nuisance property person that I have to contact. So just so the board will know, if you give them the 60 days, and I can see where he really is trying. If you give them the 60 days, what will happen is I will be in contact with the nuisance property person prior to coming back to this board. I will have something in writing from them whether they have anything new to present as a nuisance. So at that point, whoever gives me that information, then the board can contact them to testify or whatever. But I do have now a nuisance person that I have to be in contact with once a property has been labeled a nuisance property. So I would be able to testify to that and have something in writing.
Okay. Thank you.
And, before you go, and just so I'm clear, if as 60 days approaches and you take another look and you find that things are substantially in compliance with the conditional uses, it's possible that you might dismiss this. I mean, it doesn't necessarily, if you feel as though they're no longer a violation, wouldn't you withdraw it from our agenda and say it's
No, I would not do that, because I feel, in all fairness to this board and to the owner, that it comes back before this board so that they can actually hear exactly what was found. And even if I find that the building has been put into the proper place as it should be, but I might still have a letter of nuisance on that property, which is still a condition. So no, I would not do that, because if I do receive a notification that it's a nuisance, there is a condition for that. And if so, this board would need to know that they are out of compliance based on having another nuisance violation.
Any other questions for the zoning administrator's office? Thank you. Further discussions on hearing 8194. Seeing none, I'll take a motion, please.
would I move to continue, counsel, continue the hearing? I move to continue the hearing for 60 days to be scheduled on or after February 1st, 2017.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a second. Moved and seconded to continue for 60 days and re-inspect and report to the board, and we'll make a decision at that time. Moved and seconded for approval. Can you call the roll, please?
Director Scobie.
Aye.
Director Rundy is excused. Director Hayes is excused. Director Roth.
Aye.
Director Gray.
Aye.
Director, I'm sorry, and President Bradley.
Excuse me, Director
Director Gray.
Moore. Director Moore.
Director Moore.
Aye.
Director Gray.
Aye.
And President Bradley.
Aye. Approved. Turn your attention to our meeting minutes from last Tuesday, November 22nd. Are there any questions, comments, additions, or corrections to the minutes?
I move to approve the minutes.
Second. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't because I wasn't here for it.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the minutes. Can you call the roll, please?
Director Scobie.
Aye.
Director Rundy is excused. Director Hayes is excused. Director Roth.
Abstain.
Director Moore.
Aye.
Director Gray.
Aye.
And President Bradley.
Aye, minutes are approved. Today's agenda, any questions or comments on the agenda?
I have one correction. Under hearing 8191, I believe the permit number is written in error there. Is my understanding it should be 108043 instead of 118043.
Okay. Any other comments, corrections, or notations on the agenda? Seeing none, I'll take a motion, please.
I move to approve the agenda as corrected.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the agenda as corrected. Can you call the roll, please?
Director Scobie.
Aye.
Director Rundy is excused. Director Hayes is excused. Director Roth.
Aye.
Director Moore.
Aye.
Director Gray.
Aye.
And President Bradley.
Aye, the agenda is approved. Motion for adjournment, please.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Meeting adjourned.